Hello, thank you for clicking on my video of my capstone experience. My name is Rachel Saltz, and my project was on healing through nature, the role of ecotherapy in supporting the mental health of veterans and service members. My site mentor was Jackie Warmoth, an occupational therapist and co-founder of the Sitrin military program located in upstate New York. They service post 9/11 veterans, offering free services for physical, emotional, and cognitive needs. And my faculty advisor was Dr. Carmen DeJovene. Today, I'm going to go through my experience with my systematic review, looking at the evidence to then implement at the Sitrin military program. And then I'll also go through some additional experiences I got to have while at my site. For my systematic review, my question was, do service members and veterans experiencing depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, or stress benefit from ecotherapy? But first, we have to know what ecotherapy is. So it is spending time outdoors in natural environments. And this could look like whitewater rafting, canyoneering, hiking, and more. And then why ecotherapy? So the literature says that ecotherapy activities are associated with reduced stress, improved mood, enhanced cognitive function, greater life satisfaction, and reduced feelings of anxiety and depression. And then looking at a physiological level, trees actually emit phytoncides, which are organic compounds that have been found to reduce cortisol levels or stress levels. And then I was able to include 11 articles after an initial 1,038 were identified. The evidence demonstrated improvements in the veteran's mental health after participation in ecotherapy. Some of the key ingredients throughout the literature for the success of ecotherapy was peer-led activities, socialization, self-selected, not forced, opportunities for mindfulness. So really being present in the moment and taking in the natural elements around you. And then also educational elements. So having the opportunity to experience new things and learn from each other and teach each other is very important. So the final algorithm implemented at the Sitrin military program. So I was in upstate New York for January through April. So we had some snowy weather to work around, but we definitely made the best of it. And we were able to implement a 7-week winter ecotherapy activities at Camp Sitrin, which is 149 acres of land with 4 newly built cabins, a reservoir, and hiking trails, and of course the fire pit. So we've been able to get up there and enjoy it. Below are some of the activities that we were able to participate in during the 7 sessions, and below are some rationale behind why we chose these specific activities. So first we have snowshoeing, physical exercise. So it is winter, so it's harder to stay active. There's opportunities for mindfulness and presence when you are out in the snow, snowshoeing, and then new experiences. So we're traveling on land that hasn't been walked on otherwise if there's snow there. So that was pretty neat. And then team-building games and cards, like playing cards, cognitive engagement, opportunities for socialization, togetherness, and then laughter and fun, getting to be together and, kind of be silly. And then we have hiking. So this offers opportunities for social bonding. So many extended hands and helping each other navigate this one goal to make it to the end of the trail and get over obstacles along the way. And then we have physical exercise again. And of course, those tree spores for cortisol or stress levels. And then fire building is a real confidence builder for the veterans and service members, giving them the opportunity to lead an activity. So I think I learned about 3 different techniques for fire building in the winter that now I can take home with me. And it gives them a real sense of achievement when they've accomplished building a fire. And then also it's uncommon in the winter. So all of them had said that they hadn't really built a fire in the winter, and now that's an activity that we're doing together. Then we have snowman building. So this gives creativity, physical exercise again, and then a childlike joy and laughter of doing something we haven't done for 20 plus years. And then we have campfire cooking. So in my hand is a pizza pie maker that you have to have special equipment for. And this gives opportunities for problem solving, creativity, and then sharing ideas. So some of them actually bought the equipment so they can share it with their family this summer. Okay, and so then I did a case report on one of the veterans specifically who participated in the ecotherapy session. So his patient history is that he's a 47-year-old male who was an Army veteran and spent 18 years in the service. He's a father of 2 adult children, and he had multiple deployments, including Korea, Germany, Iraq, Africa, and Afghanistan. And I'm going to share some incidents that he was a part of just to better understand his diagnoses that he experienced. So he survived multiple IED explosions, vehicular explosions, and 4 gunshot wounds. And this caused to him being diagnosed with traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress disorder, and a severe back injury, which would later lead to his medical discharge from the military. So his surgery actually failed. And while he was in the service, he was actually prescribed over 20 medications, leading to risky behavior and a very challenging transition to civilian life. He found the Sitrin military program through multiple flyers being mailed to him, but he would throw them in the trash every time. He had been trying to seek mental health help for many years and hadn't been successful, so he wasn't really too interested. But a caring physician actually drove an hour to ensure that he did show up for his evaluation. And now he's been a part of the program since 2018 and stayed connected. So his goal for 2025 is to maintain his mental and physical well-being. And through his experience with ecotherapy prior to participating, he felt his mental health was not optimal. Again, he's living in upstate New York during what they would call a harsh winter, I guess the harshest in 30 years. So glad I could be a part of that. But he felt it was really isolating and it leaves him just to doom scrolling on his phone. So some improvements he saw through ecotherapy were that it gave him something to look forward to each week. So he noticed changes in his optimism and that it was a safe and quiet place for him to go. And a special moment for him was playing a new team building game with the guys. And he really enjoyed seeing and forming a deeper connection with veterans he typically only gets to see once a year. So his recommendation is for people to not be afraid of a little rain. And he feels this is a place that veterans can come to be themselves without being judged. So they have the freedom to be vulnerable. And he was able to attend 7 out of the 7 sessions. These graphs demonstrate the levels of mood, social well-being, physical, and stress before and after each of the ecotherapy sessions. So this is an average of all the veterans that came and participated, but they're very similar to the client that I just went over to their case. So as you can see, the mood and social well-being increased every week, and then also had a trend of increasing at baseline when they were to show up each week. So showing overall improvement the more weeks that went on. And then physical pain and stress decreased, which is seen as an improvement. So some key takeaways for implementing ecotherapy are to send out a weekly invitation. This population really appreciates that and really responds well to being invited. And to have an outdoor space that is really safe. So this is a place they can go where they're not worried about other people and they aren't worried about strange noises or things to be kind of alarmed about. They can be low stress. So going along with that, having a low pressure environment that does promote stress relief and relationship building. So you don't want to force activities or be super structured. Just also having opportunity to show up anytime. So we had it open from 9:30 to 12:30 and people could come and go as they were able to. So there was no expectation and no way you could be late. And then having opportunities for participation in new activities. So novelty is important. And then as occupational therapists, using activity analysis to determine the client factors to address in each activity. Patient care opportunities I had while I was here include the list to the left, and then on the top right is the biofeedback machine. I have it hooked up for brainwave, but you can also put it around your stomach for respiratory, which is what we typically do for diaphragmatic breathing to get people to take deep breaths and really decrease the heart rate and stress levels. And on the bottom is an example of polarity therapy, which is a energy and healing touch type therapy to really bring veterans down to that parasympathetic nervous system. While I was at Sitrin, I was also able to create educational resources. including a veteran mental health guide for occupational therapists, as well as a patient handout, a weaponry guide so I could better understand the military history of the veterans in conversation, administrative portfolios to understand program development, an ecotherapy binder for the sustainability of the winter ecotherapy sessions, which they will actually be continuing throughout the year. And then in service for the inpatient, outpatient staff on ecotherapy, a newsletter write-up on ecotherapy, and lastly, a diaphragmatic breathing handout for the biofeedback. And then additional opportunities I had were watching a veteran get recognized at the local hockey game, community snowshoeing events held by veterans up north, a movie screening and Q&A by the screenwriters of My Dead Friend Zoe, a veteran film, therapeutic drumming class where we learned how to run a drumming circle, and then lastly, natural horsemanship. Here are my references and my acknowledgements. I just want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Carmen DeGiovane, Jackie Wormuth, my site mentor, my sweet family, mom, dad, and my darling niece, and then the Ohio State University's Division of Occupational Therapy program. So grateful to be a Buckeye, my friends, and my dear Aunt Mary Beth. Thank you so much for